Why have I only been using spooky backgrounds? I could just bring it back to the hold on. Wait, I need to show you something. Oh my god, look at my hair. Okay, so my mom says that she was taking a shower last night and she started hearing like a weird sound, and she opened up the shower curtain and she said that she saw that ring that holds like the hand towels swinging up and down by itself. I don't know if you guys saw that other video about the rosary. That's what happened to her. Same person. She was in the shower and she started hearing a weird like sound against the wall, and when she looked out, the rosary that she had hanging was just like swinging back and forth. So obviously I'm like, well, what did you do after you saw that, the ring? And she's like, nomás le dije que no le tengo miedo. Translation, I just told her that I'm not scared of it. How is she my mom? Because I would have been so scared. I wouldn't have even said that. She was over there like, I'm not scared of you. Anyway, she thinks that it's just like something wanting their attention, but what? Who the hell knows? But the fact that this has like happened to her before. Also, what is up with the shower thing? I would feel so freaking violated. What the hell? When she was telling me, I tried recording so that I can show you what exactly she's talking about. I'm gonna play it now, but just know that I was like ready to get out of there. And then when you went out, it was doing that by itself. Let's get out of here.
No more tooth pain, so that means you better have a snack, because it's story time. Some of y'all may not know this, but today, which is November 2nd, is actually a very special day in Haitian culture. The first and the second day, actually. It is the celebration of Gede. It's Gede Day. Say that 6 times fast. This is a day where people that do voodoo, they do like a celebration, and basically they're honoring the spirits of the dead. A lot of people participate in it, including this lady named Louise. Now, Louise loved celebrating this day. Every single year, she would put on the clothes, dance, and drink in honor of the spirits. Sometimes she'd get invited to some of her other friends that are having celebrations, but she always celebrates it. So it's the year of 2005, and it's October 31st, 2005 to be exact. So the next day is the start of Gede Day, right? So she's getting ready, she's getting some materials, some, ingredients, whatever, because she was going to one of her friends' celebration this year. So she goes to the town market to buy a couple of things, and as she gets there and she's shopping, she's looking at things, on one of the tables that the people that were selling the stuff had, it said, "Run. R-U-N, run." Obviously, this happened in Creole, but I'm going to say it in English. And she noticed it, and she didn't really think too much of it because, that's somebody's table. Somebody kid could have carved that. So she does what she needs to do. She buys what she needs to buy, and she glances at the spot that she saw it again, just to, see it again. And it wasn't there. So now she's like, what the hell? But at the same time, she does voodoo. Weird things happen all the time. So she brushes it off. She goes on about her business. She gets what she needs to get. Celebration starts at midnight on the dot. So she should be ready and be by her friend's house at midnight. Now, I should tell you guys, every time she goes to these yearly celebrations, she would watch people get possessed all the time. Like Loas come and they possess people all the time. But it never happened to her. And a part of her wanted it to happen because she loves the culture. She wants to be a vessel. But it had never happened to her before. So she goes to the party, she's having fun, she's drinking, she's dancing around, they're playing the music. She falls to the ground with her eyes open. For a second, she didn't move. She couldn't move. And as she's sitting there, she's looking around her and she sees nothing but flying entities. And as much as she loved this culture, this actually scared her. Mind y'all, she can't move. So she's sitting there and she's watching these things get closer to her until they get to her and they drag her. She said it felt like she was moving at about 100 miles per hour. It was so fast that she couldn't even see or tell where they were taking her. And next thing she knew, she was in hell. But it wasn't like the hell you imagined. There's no fire everywhere, but there's so many demons and souls that they have trapped. The way they're torturing them, there's so much going on. And she remembers seeing all of that and instantly regretted her every life decision because she's terrified. She is terrified. Now, I'm going to stop the story right here for a second because there's something that I need to explain to you. Louise had some mutual friends in the voodoo culture, but she really only had about 2 true friends that are in the voodoo culture. A friend that was having the celebration that day and another friend that was also at the celebration. So they were all there together. At one point, they were together, dancing together, and then the owner of, like, the person that was having the celebration, she wasn't there anymore. But nobody thought anything of it because she's, like, having this, so she's probably making sure everything's going well. It was Louise, and let's call the other one Gina, not the owner. Let's call the owner Baby. I don't know. So Baby is nowhere to be found, and Gina and Louise are left. They're dancing, they're drinking, they're having fun. As Gina is dancing with Louise, she notices Louise drops to her knees and she's frozen, as if somebody got her in some kind of trance, and she's not moving. She has no expression. She's just there. And at first, Gina's like, maybe she's finally getting possessed by a giddy. So let me not think too much of it, but let me just keep an eye on her. And when you get possessed by a giddy, you know, you're going to be moving around. You're going to be doing things. However, Louise wasn't moving. She was just stuck there. And Gina instantly felt like something was wrong. So she goes to check on Louise, and she realizes Louise is really not moving. And as she's like trying to shake Louise, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? She realizes that Louise is looking in a specific direction. And when she looked at that direction, it's Baby's room. And Baby is standing in the room.
You guys have been asking me for a scary story time, so I'm here to share 2 of them from my childhood. I'm sure most of you guys remember those viral ghost games like Bloody Mary, the closet game, Piggy Piggy. In grade school, I had a friend that was super into that stuff, so every time she would come over to my house, she would want to play these games. So the game consisted of having a matchbox, going inside of a dark closet, closing the door, and repeating, show me the light or leave me in darkness, over and over until you heard a whisper, and then you light the match and get out. I remember saying it over and over and over, and nothing was happening. I tried to leave the closet, but my friend locked me in there. Started saying it again, and then I started to feel this cold breeze go down my neck. At this point, I'm like jiggling the door handle, like asking my friend, please let me out, but not trying to be loud so my mom hears and I get in trouble. And then I started to hear a whisper in my ear, and I just busted the door down. I forgot to light the match. I forgot to say goodbye. I just ran out of there. After playing that game, my room officially became the coldest room in the house. It didn't matter how much you turned the heat up, it was always so cold. Almost every single night, I would wake up around 2 in the morning and I would just see my door slowly opening. I asked my mom if I could take my closet door down, and she did. We ended up hanging up a cute curtain so it could just fill in the space. But now I'm waking up every night to the curtain just slowly opening. Eventually, I took the curtain down and I started sleeping with all the lights on in my room. And I actually continued to have paranormal experiences afterwards throughout my adulthood. And I'm wondering if it had something to do with that. The second story actually takes place at school. One day on the playground, this same friend suggested that a bunch of girls go into the bathroom and try to do Bloody Mary. Why was she trying to get the whole class possessed? We all went into the girls' room. Just to give you an idea of how it was set up, it was like 10 or 15 stalls going this way and then 10 or 15 sinks and mirrors on the other side. Everybody stood in front of a mirror, and one of the girls turned the lights off. This was before they took the light switches, y'all. All in sync, everybody was saying Bloody Mary. And then it just suddenly got silent, and I started to see something manifesting in the mirror in front of me. I assume other girls in the group ended up seeing something too, because a bunch of them started screaming. And when the light switches went on, the girl to my right actually had scratches going all the way down her arms. The way they were placed, it was not possible for her to do it to herself. Everybody ran out of the bathroom crying and screaming, but I was just frozen, stuck there. I remember hearing this wet dripping noise, and all of the stalls just started slamming shut one by one, and I ran. The teacher didn't believe that none of us did that to her, so we actually all got sent to the principal's office. You really think the principal's gonna believe a bunch of girls saying that a ghost did that to the other girl? I still don't know what the fuck happened that day. But I can tell you, do not dabble and play with that stuff, because it's actually real. If you go out seeking that type of shit, it's gonna find you. The crazy thing is, I don't have too many memories from when I was a child, but all of these things stuck because they were that traumatizing to me. And that's just my experience with playing 2 of those games. I have a ton more to share with you guys in the future. So like I said, don't play with that stuff. It's not worth it.
Y'all, I moved into a haunted house. And to make it even worse, it was in the projects. So in like March or April of 2023, I moved into a townhouse down the way on 33rd, y'all. So my first night in there, it was just me and my son. And my son, he keeps coming to my room telling me that somebody is coming up the stairs. Like, his room was the first room when you got to the top of the stairs. So like, when you got up there, you turn right, it was his room, and in the middle was mine. He keeps coming in my room. Like, the first night we in there, he like, yeah, Mommy, I think somebody is at the bottom of the stairs. I think, someone's coming up the stairs, or they're either like, at the bottom of the stairs, but I keep hearing somebody on the stairs. So I just try to reassure my son, like, oh, you know what, maybe you just hearing like the house settle, or maybe you hearing the neighbors, because we do live in a townhouse. he would not go to bed. He just insisted that somebody was on the stairs. So I just let him sleep with me, and I closed my door and just went on about my night. So I just had took it like, maybe he was just having a little bit of trouble adjusting to the new house, or, maybe he was just scared, or, him just being a kid. Y'all, after that, shit just started getting weirder. So this is like one night, a couple weeks later, I leave home, and I left my phone at home. And so my location is showing that I'm at home, but I'm not answering my phone or nothing like that. So my friends got worried, and they went to my house to look for me. Like, they go there. But once they get there, all the lights is off in the house. My car not outside or whatever. So they're like looking in the house. They're looking in the kitchen window. Y'all, they say as they looking in there, they can see somebody like walk from the kitchen into the living room, but they can only see like the bottom half of his body. They cannot see. They see it's a boy, and they say he had on like black sweatpants and with like a white line in the middle. And they say he had on like tennis shoes, but they could not see nothing above his torso. So they're like, oh, Jay, Jay dude must be over there or something, and she just maybe not accept the company or whatever. So they just brush it off and they leave. The next day I see them and I'm talking to them. They like, yeah, last night we came to your house. There was a dude walking around in your kitchen and we seen him. We just thought you ain't want to be bothered. And I'm like, no, nobody was in my house last night. I was gone. Like, my house was empty. So I don't, now at this point, I don't really know like what's going on or whatever. So after this, like, shit just kept happening. Like, weird shit just kept happening. So one night I drop my son off at my baby daddy's sister's house, and I leave him there, and I go home and I call my baby daddy. And he's like, as I'm talking to him or whatever, I tell him like mid-conversation, like, yeah, I dropped baby G off already and he gone. And he like, well, if he gone, then who was that talking in the phone when I first got on the phone? Like, it was a little kid talking. I'm like, stop trying to scare me because I'm at home by myself, whatever and whatever. He like, no, I'm not playing. I thought that, he was over there with you because it was just a kid talking in the phone. So I'm like, you know what, maybe he was hearing the TV or whatever. I keep just trying to debunk everything myself. So y'all, I go to bed that night and I wake up the next morning, and I want to say it's like right before or as the sun is like, rising. So it's probably like 6 in the morning, and I wake up and I go to the bathroom. Now my room was in the middle, so I had to walk past my son's room to get to the bathroom. As I walk past his room, I hear like a little kid in there talking, like, making noise, like, like, just humming or whatever, like a little kid. So I'm sitting on the toilet or whatever, and I'm I'm still half asleep or whatever. So I'm in my head like, oh my God, I gotta try to like, get him to lay back down, get him to go back to bed, whatever. He probably gonna be hungry. He gonna want me to go downstairs, make him some food. And it dawned on me, y'all, I dropped my son off last night. So I go in the room, I'm looking around in the room, ain't nothing in there. The TV not on, nothing. But I know, as sure as my name is what it is, I just heard somebody in this room. So, I just keep like rebuking whatever it is that's happening or whatever, but I'm really in my head, I'm trying to ignore it. So after that situation, another time I am going down the stairs. At this particular time, I was at home by myself with nobody in the house but me. And I was just, like cleaning up, straightening up the house or whatever. So I'm going down the stairs. And okay, I forgot to mention that I was pregnant. So I was probably like, I don't even know. I was probably like 7-8 months pregnant. I am walking down the stairs, and I feel 5 fingers and a hand in my back, and somebody pushed me off the stairs. Like, I went flying up the stairs. I went flying from maybe like the 4th, maybe like the 3rd or 4th step. So I hit the floor, and I hurt like my ankle, I think. And so I'm at this point I just start praying and rebuking whatever it is that's in the house or whatever. And if the next day, like the very next day, I'm standing at the bottom of the stairs. My son is back home at this point. I'm standing at the bottom of the stairs, and I'm waiting on my son to come downstairs, and I'm ready for him to like get dressed so we can go. And he gets to like the 3rd or the 4th step, and he flies off the stairs. Like, I'm standing there looking at him. He didn't mess up his footing. He didn't misstep. He didn't trip. He flew off them stairs. Now, I cannot remember who I talked to after, I've seen this, after I'm witnessing all this, but I talked to somebody, and it was a lady, and she ended up telling me, like, whatever is happening in your house, whoever is in your house, whatever spirit or whatever happened before you stayed there, it's centered around the steps in your house. Like, a lot of the activity was around the stairs, but, like, you know, other stuff was always happening. Like, whenever I was on the phone with somebody, they always could say that they could hear, like, a baby crying or a little kid talking or, you know, stuff like that. It was very weird. So now, y'all, it's summertime at this point. Like, we into the summer, so it's maybe like June. And I had my little sister over my house, and she had stayed there one night and babysat my son. So I had came home the next morning because I had been out all night. And I came home the next morning, and I asked my son, like, you know, who was over here last night? You know, trying to see if my sister had somebody in my house. So he's like, wasn't nobody over here last night, mommy. It was just me, Sheree, and Jawan. I said, who the fuck is Jawan? My son say, Jawan, my friend, he be over here at night. I'm like, so I go and I'm trying to ask my sister, like, who is Jawan? Like, who do you know that's named Jawan? He like, she like, I don't know nobody named Jawan. I'm like, you gotta know somebody named Jawan, cause Baby G said you had somebody named Jawan over here, whatever. My sister is like, no, I didn't. I don't even know nobody named Jawan. Now, at this point, I'm thinking that she has coached my son into telling me that, like, Jawan is somebody, like, he done made up in his head or something. Because Jawan ain't no name that no 4-year-old gonna just come up with, you know? The next day, we send downstairs, and the mail come through the door. So I told you I live down the way. So when you live down the way, it's just a hole in the door that the mail come through. And we send downstairs, and the mail come through the door, and it hit the floor. And I tell my sister, get in and tell me, like, who it's addressed to. Is it for me? If it's for me, open it. My sister say, no, this ain't for you. This ain't for nobody that live here. This for somebody named Jawan.
Can we show him the older homestead?
Yeah, let's go. As you know.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Was that you?
Yeah, that's on either side.
They went to both.
Yeah.
Hey y'all, so I can't sleep. It's 2 in the morning where I am. It's 2:30 actually. But since I can't sleep, let's do story time. So you can go get a snack if you want to. But if you are, make it healthy, okay? I was just eating some grapes, so make it something like fruits or something. So this is actually a story that my grandmother told me like a really long time ago, and I just remembered it for some reason. So her auntie had told her about this story when she was younger. So basically, there was this girl whose cousin had passed away. Now, before the cousin passed away, the cousin kept saying that he felt something on his chest as if someone is sitting on him. He just kept complaining about that for a few days, and then he just like passed away. Anyways, fast forward, it's the day of the cousin's funeral. Now this girl, let's call her Maria. So the cousin that passed away is Maria's cousin. Anyway, Maria is at the funeral. And some traditions believe that you're not supposed to laugh at a funeral. Obviously, if it's like memories about the person being spoken about, you could laugh. But not like in a rude, disrespectful way, which is exactly what Maria did. Her and her cousin weren't really close, but she was like that bratty child that really just wanted to do whatever they wanted. And so she laughed for her first time at the funeral. And then one of the elders warned her and was like, hey, please don't be rude. Like, you're not supposed to be laughing. We're at a funeral. She's like, oh my gosh, you elders and your superstitions. Now I can't laugh. I can't laugh because somebody died. And so she like mocks it and starts laughing even louder to try and prove a point. Long story short, they ended up having to escort her out because she was being like completely disrespectful. And all of the elders were just kind of looking at her like, all right, we saying that for your own good, but whatever. Anyways, that night, everybody went home, you know. The repast happened, the family got together, and then everybody separated. The next morning, they go to get Maria to go eat breakfast, except Maria is not in her room. Now, they watched her go to her room the night before to go to sleep, but she's not in her room anymore. And so everybody started looking all over for her. Y'all, they end up finding her on the roof, standing barefoot on the edge of the roof. And she was just standing there. She wasn't jumping. She wasn't saying anything. She was just standing there, staring into space. They believe that she was standing on their roof all night at that exact same spot, because even after they got her off, like, you could see the marks on her feet, because houses in Haiti are made of bricks. So they managed to, get her off the roof, get her off of the ledge. And long story short, Maria I believe she's still alive now, but at the time my grandma told me the story, she was still alive. She just never spoke again, like never spoke. She eats, she bathes, she does certain things. She just does not speak. But everybody kind of knew why that happened because she laughed at the funeral. Now, if you haven't gotten my ebook yet, I don't know what to tell you. I have 2 different stories posted with receipts of people sending me their testimonies about my ebook. Sounds basic, right? Protect yourself from bad things until it's you. Until you find yourself in a cycle you can't get out of. But hey, don't take it from me, take it from them. Hey, bestie. It's 1 a.m. where I am now. I don't know what time it is where you are, but it's story time. So you know what that means. Go get your snack or meal. I don't care, except for the people celebrating Ramadan. No snack or meal for you. Now, the reason why I'm up this late, if you were in my live, you already know, but I just released a new ebook called The Breakup Cleanse, and it's a spiritual guide to help you heal, let go of past pain, and protect your energy after a breakup. Now, a lot of people don't know that breakups are very spiritual because you were tied to that person. Especially to those that was doing the do while you're on your period. Yeah. You tied yourself to that person. That's why it's so hard to get over them. But that's why I have this ebook. It's called The Breakup Lens. It's called The Breakup Cleanse, and it's in the link in the bio. Click the link tree. It is going to be right there. Or if you just want to protect yourself from, regular dark stuff that I'll be talking about, there's the other ebook called Cleansed and Covered. I hear you guys' demands, and I'm always going to provide. Now, on to the story. I'm not going to go on too much. So, there's this girl named Maya. Now, Maya and her friends, they have a side gig where they babysit. One of her friends was supposed to babysit this little boy, but an emergency came up, and she asked Maya if Maya can cover for her. So, Maya's like, yeah, extra money, of course. So, she goes to the parents' house, and when she gets there, she greets the parents. She introduces herself and everything. And as she was talking to the parents, something about them felt off. For example, like the dad refused to make eye contact with her. And her mom, Noah's mom, let's call the little boy Noah. Noah's mom just, when she was talking to, what did we call her? Maya. When she was talking to Maya, it was as if she was trying to memorize Maya's face. Maya didn't really think too much of it. Like, she tried to brush it off. She's done a lot of weird babysitting jobs, so this wouldn't be the first. So the mom basically says, the little boy, Noah, is already fed, so he's ready to go. Just make sure he's in bed by 9 o'clock. We don't really have any rules. You can help yourself to the food or whatever. There's only one rule that we have. And she pointed at a specific closet in the hallway and said, just don't open that closet. That should have been Maya's first red flag, right? But she was just like, again, she's done weird babysitting jobs. Some people have private rooms and she don't even want to know what's in there anyway. So she's like, cool, you got it. So the parents leave. Noah was in front of the TV watching TV. He wasn't really, much of a bother. He was just in front of his TV minding his business. And so after about 30 minutes, Maya goes up to Noah and says, hey, buddy, do you want to play a game before you go to bed or watch a movie? We could do something fun before you go to bed. And Noah dead looks at her and goes, we have to be quiet. She doesn't like noise. Nani? So Maya instantly felt like a chill up her spine. So she asked him, who doesn't like noise? And the little boy says, the lady in the closet. At this point, the fear is starting to grow in Maya and she's frozen. So Maya asked him, what fucking lady? Ain't no lady in here. Nah, but she asked him, what lady in the closet? The little boy just shrugs and was just like, she likes to come out in the dark, but don't worry, she's gonna look like mommy so you don't get too scared. At this point, Maya's like, fuck this. Her voice starts getting shaky. So she says to Noah, that's not funny. If you're trying to prank me, that's not funny. That's actually really creepy. Noah's like, why? Maya's like, because your mom is your mom. What lady in the closet that's gonna look like your mom? The little boy didn't even say anything. He just shrugged again, turned back to the TV, and whispered, not always.
I'm about to tell y'all something so fucking scary. And I just I was gonna wait and save it for the next episode of my YouTube about how I'm almost positive my parents are involved in some kind of cult. And if you've been keeping up with all my TikToks recently and my story that I'm putting out there, bro, I need y'all to listen to this because this is what really fucking makes me think, besides all the other obvious shit, that they are involved in something. Okay, so growing up as kids, I have this distinct memory that replays in my head over and over and over and over, and I don't know why. But it scares me. I remember there was this priest, right, that was part of the church that we grew up in, and like he was the head of it, and everyone looked at him like he was like the healer, like Jesus Christ reincarnated. He would call every person in this like small community of that church every year on their birthday, including me and my siblings. And my parents would make us talk to him, and he would ask us all these questions. And every year we would go on these beach trips with just this small community within this bigger church. And they were all very close friends with my parents. The only people that my parents have ever been friends with. No one has ever been friends with my parents except for these people. And I just have this distinct memory when I was little of us. It was pitch black. We were all outside. And this priest was like giving some kind of speech. I don't know. And then it was just a bunch of nuns, like hella fucking nuns, bro, sitting on like fold out chairs on the beach. And or like somewhere outside. And I just remember my mom giving me to one of the nuns, and then I don't remember anything after that except for her putting me to bed in a bed with all of my siblings, and I was wet as fuck. And she like laughed and told me like that I had like peed on one of the nuns' laps or something. That's what she would always tell me. I don't know, bro. It replays in my head all the time. But this isn't even the scariest part, bro. If you watched my videos on YouTube and heard me tell you about how I think my mom like has everyone that's ever come close to her, when I was telling you about that lady that always felt so safe to me, that was like in also a big part of this fucking church, and I swear they killed her and her husband. But I remember when she died, and my mom pretended she found out that her best friend died on one, like a random day during announcements at church, when she insisted on going to church this one day at night when we usually go in the morning to read these announcements, and coincidentally find out then. After this happened, she was never home. She spent 2 weeks with this priest. We never saw her. We always asked my dad, like, where's mom? She was always with this priest somewhere. I don't know what they were doing, bro. And this priest was always so oddly touchy with me and my siblings. The way he touched us was not normal. And it made our skin crawl. Like, we all have this memory. And my parents, every night before bed, would give me and my sister a puff of an inhaler through a tube. So they'd put the mask on our face and hold the backs of our heads and make us inhale this shit, right? And every time they would do it, we would, for some reason, say his name. And they would laugh so hard, like it was the funniest thing in the world. And we don't know why we did it. We all have this memory. And when we moved into the big, scary fucking house that we lived in, that just is so unbelievably evil and demonic, and like you can't even like go into the driveway without feeling the evil presence, bro. I have this distinct memory of the first night that we moved in. That priest, I believe he stayed with us for like 2 days, and he did some kind of seance in the house. And I remember the smell of incense, and like I just have this very distinct memory my brain always goes back to. And it's like, and when I went into foster care, he would fucking follow me. He would follow me and bump into me and pretend he didn't know me in front of my foster parents. And I'd be like, I know him. That's not the only terrifying memory I have. I replay this one memory where I also woke up wet as fuck, where I was down in the family room of this demonic house, right? And I was paralyzed, and I saw there was a dark figure standing over me with an ox head and a cloak. And my mother, I look over and she's sitting on a couch watching. And then I snap out of it and start screaming bloody murder, and the whole house wakes up, and I was wet. I had peed my pants. Y'all, something's happening! I need to know what happened. I need answers, bro. I have to find out who my mother is. Who is this priest? What does she belong to, and what does she do to me and my siblings, bro?
What the fuck was that? Bro!
What's going on around you?
I don't know. I'm frozen. I am frozen.
Did the window
Sean.
break?
The girl telling the story says that at the time she was 12 years old and her little sister was 10. She says that in Cuernavaca they only had one place where they can go shop around, and it was the Plaza of Cuernavaca. So on this day, her parents and her little sister decided to go to the plaza. And as they were walking through the plaza, they came across a kiosk that was selling like little duendes. She says that she remembers that each duende had like a different thing they can do for you. So like one could bring you good luck, one can bring you a job, one can bring you love, like all of that stuff. She didn't think that her parents were gonna buy one because honestly the duendes, she said, looked really ugly, and that her dad actually ended up buying one for money. Her mom did try to stop dad from buying the duende, but nevertheless he ended up buying it. So before they left the kiosk, the guy working there told them that they need to leave food out for the duende, that they had to leave out sunflower seeds and water. All of them were like, what the fuck? Because they're like, okay, yeah, sure. Because they were all like, what the fuck? Like, this is just like a little gnome. So even though they all didn't believe that this duende was real, the mom did go and end up buying some sunflower seeds to leave out for the duende. So that same night, they did end up leaving some water and the sunflower seeds for the duende and went to bed. When they all woke up and came downstairs, they noticed that the sunflower seeds have been eaten, like they would open and the seeds have been eaten. But mom was looking at dad and dad was looking at mom, and they were like blaming each other for trying to prank them and try to scare them. So the day went on and mom still thought it was dad and dad still thought it was mom. The following night, this family had 2 dogs that were outside, and in the middle of the night they heard one of the dogs screeching like if somebody was hurting it. They were used to their dogs, so obviously they could tell like what kind of sound they were making, and she says that it was the kind of sound like if something was hitting the dog. So the parents went and go checked on the dog, and they thought maybe like a squirrel was fighting with the dog, so they brought him in. The parents really didn't give it much importance because they didn't see anything out there, so they just thought that maybe another animal was coming and bugging those dogs. So the following day they all came downstairs, and again those sunflower seeds looked like somebody had been eating them, and that same night the dog was crying again like if something was hitting it. So again they bring the dogs inside. They were thinking, wow, this is weird, but they really weren't giving it that much importance. Like they just thought, again, there's an animal outside messing with the dog. So the following night is when her little 10-year-old sister gets up in the middle of the night and runs to her parents' room. So when her little sister wakes up her parents, they're like, what's going on? What's wrong? And the little sister tells them that she's hearing some sounds from underneath her bed. And the parents were like, there's nothing under your bed. And the little girl was crying and crying. So the dad, so that she could not be scared, he was like, let's go to your room and I'm gonna show you there's nothing there. So they go to the little girl's room and he pulls the sheets and looks at her and says, see, there's nothing there. And the little girl points, and when he looks underneath, there are these sunflower seeds all under her bed, open like if somebody had been eating them. In that moment, the dad sent the 10-year-old to his bedroom, goes and wakes up the 12-year-old that's telling us a story as an adult now, and they're all on the king-size bed scared as fuck. The girl telling us the story says that her mom was the one who told her about this, but she remembers being woken up like around 3 or 4 in the morning, like not knowing what's going on, just knowing that she was gonna go to sleep in her parents' room. She said that she remembers that the little duende was in her parents' room, and she saw her mom grab it, put it in a trash bag, and throw it in the trash can. So the following morning, the mom was like, wait, I don't want to throw it in the trash, because she was scared that if she let it go to the trash, what if that duende came back again? So instead she was like, I'm gonna go take it back to that guy at the kiosk. So they all go back to the guy at the kiosk, and the mom's like, hey, what is going on? Like, this is happening and this is happening. And the guy was like, oh yeah, it's because they like to play around a lot. So the guy ends up telling them, like, if you want to get rid of it, you would have to dig a hole in your yard, put it in that hole, and then it'll find like a different home. And the mom was like, hell no, I do not want this duende anywhere near my home, nowhere in the land. So she's like, I don't care, you're gonna keep it and we're gonna leave it here. And that's what they did. I just think it's crazy, like they didn't attribute the duende to everything that was happening until like the sunflower seeds were under the little girl's bed. I'm not gonna lie, I love listening to duende stories, but some of them were just like, no, frick that. Because you imagine finding those sunflower seeds under your bed. But not just that, she was obviously hearing something underneath her bed. Like the duende was just chilling under there eating his sunflower seeds and scaring the fuck out of the 10-year-old.